Hi, I'm trained literary philologist and comic book enthusiast Dan Umpin. Welcome to the Doomcast. When I was at Minicon, there was a guy that came up to my booth and said that he watches the Doomcast and he enjoys it, but he doesn't know what I'm talking about most of the time because he's just recently gotten into comics. And he let me know that he just doesn't really know where to start. It's something that he enjoys, but doesn't know what to start reading. Well, you're in luck, dude whose name I unfortunately don't remember, because today we're going to give you a crash course, not in the required reading, but in how to make your own required reading course in getting into comics. Okay, so the last episode was really satirical, but this is the real deal. Like a lot of people my age, I got into comics in the early 90s, during the boom. Cable, X-Men, Batman, Death of Superman, Wolverine, Spawn, Wildcats, all that stuff. And I followed a lot of Marvel stuff, and then got into DC a lot bigger and badder, just because I was nostalgic for Super Friends, 10 years after it happened. Done a lot of Vertigo stuff through high school, and then got back into comics when I had money to buy them in about 2008. But there's now 6 years of continuity that I was missing at that point, and catching up was kind of hard. But still, I had a base knowledge of comics from way back, and it wasn't that difficult. But what do you do if you're starting from scratch? How do you get into comics if you don't know anything? Let's start with character. If you're drawn to comics, it's probably because you're familiar, to some degree, with a group of characters or a specific character from one place or another. Start out by picking up a book that they're in, or books if it's one particular character like Batman, Iron Man, or X-O Man-of-War. Then, you can gradually go back and find some of these. It's a trade paperback. It's essentially a collected edition of multiple issues of comic books. They're usually priced even more affordably than a single comic book issue, and if you go into a comic book shop like Cape's Cafe, they can even special order them for you. But don't just stop there. You can scour used bookstores and regular bookstores for discount trades, or if you're at a place like Cape's, you can find out if they have anything that they can special order for cheap, or if they have anything on sale. It's worth checking out comic book stores first. They're going to have the widest selection, and chances are there's probably going to be some of their back stock that's on sale. If it's not, keep coming back. Check it out, keep your eye on stuff, and pick it up when you have the time and you have the cash. Another really good thing to do is explore. Comic stores like Cape's will usually have boxes upon boxes of comics in bins for sale, usually for 50 cents or a quarter, and sometimes I know Kurt and Kyle will put those books on sale. Even so, they're 50 stinking cents. They're open for people to browse, grab back issues to fill up portions that a collector might have missed, or that somebody wants to piece together the rest of an arc or something like that that they've been looking for. For you, this is a great way to find stuff that you didn't know about already. You see a cover you like? It's 50 freaking cents. Pick it up. If there's 4 more issues in the sequence, great, buy them. Then you just bought a whole trade for less than $3. Less than you would spend on the dollar menu to go into a carb coma. Another great point, talk to other geeks. The best thing that you can do with this or any other fandom is talk to other people. And I know if you're a nerd by nature, you're probably a little bit of an antisocial person. Maybe the kid who kind of smells weird or talks too much or not enough or only about dragons or only to stuff that isn't actually there. Well, look, you still gotta actually talk to other people about comics, and there's few better people that you can talk to than the staff of a comic book store or people at a Comic-Con. What should I read? What's your favorite storyline? What's your favorite writer of this character? What's your favorite writer, period? What's your favorite artist? What's the story with the Court of Owls? Who wrote The Death of Superman? What's Harbinger? Who's X-O Man-of-War? What's the Eternal Warrior? What's Unity? Great questions to ask. Really, if you can't talk to the staff of a comic store about comics, you don't want to go there to buy your comics. No store in Des Moines at least has any condescending jerks behind the counter. So go strike up a conversation. Talk to them about anything. Best single question you can ever ask. If I like this, what else would I like? That's going to open up a lot of doors for you. Heck, even if you've been reading comics for years and you think you know everything, that's a great question to ask all the time. One that I neglect to, but you'll discover stuff all the time. Next week, Sarah Strege and I are talking Harley Quinn. But after that, we're going to go ahead and start a quick syllabus on required reading for Comics 101, basically. What's canon? what are the 4 or 5 major storylines that you'd need to have read to get yourself up to speed on what's going on in Marvel or DC, or at least understand the essential character of those universes? What are some of the essential graphic novels that somebody should have read? The major landmarks of movements in comics. I'm going to address all of that. I'm even going to go decade by decade over the next couple of months and give you some of the core titles or core runs that you should have read in those decades. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. This has been the Doomcast.